Hey, welcome to the channel today. There is a lot of different types of bunkers on the golf course. We got waist bunkers, we got pot bunkers, we got fairway bunkers, and we got greenside bunkers. So today, I'm gonna head out to the back nine and we're gonna hit different bunker shots from different types of situations. So let's go out there. So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're gonna play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're gonna go out there and play great because of the single plane swing. All right, another nice and windy day here in Oklahoma. Right here is a pretty good spot because we have basically a waist bunker, which is, the ball can actually come in here, go off, and sometimes these are deemed waist bunkers where you can actually ground your club. This one is not, but I'm gonna play it as a waist bunker today just so you can see what that would be. And you can see the conditions of the bunker aren't great. The problem with that is you get some bad lies, and you can get some really bad lies in waist bunkers. This bunker here, obviously in a little better condition. This is more of a fairway bunker, kind of a big lip on it, but not a huge lip on it. So we're gonna hit a shot from there and talk about how we deal with that. And then up there, we have a pretty good pot bunker where if the ball tends to go in there, we have to be really good strategy-wise to we can't go out the green from here. So let's do the waist bunker first. And I'll just talk about how to hit these long bunker shots. Now, one of the things that you always have to pay attention to in this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just let the ball go down into the bunker, is the lie of the golf ball. Now, obviously, that's not a terrible lie. The ball is sitting up, and I can get the club on the ball. Now, here's really the determining factor on this. Can you make contact with the ball before the sand? That's really the question here is, can I hit it solid enough to get the ball all the way to the green? Right now I got about 160 yards to that flag. So the question is, can I take a 6-iron, 7-iron, or whatever I need and hit it all the way to the flag hitting the ball? Now, if this ball would roll into, let's say, this footprint, because a lot of times waist bunkers are not raked, you're not required to really keep the conditions of a waist bunker in good shape. So this could roll into, let's say, a footprint, or it goes into this tire track or something like this, where it sits down a little bit. That is a different situation. And so really strategy is an important part of this, because I can try to hit that 6-iron from there, but most likely it's not going to get all the way to the green. So maybe I got to hit it to the left side or hit it into a wedge condition where I can get it up and down. So the first thing is just pay attention to how to lie the ball. I'm gonna give myself a pretty decent lie here, and then let's just talk about the situation in kind of a loose ground situation. Now, the problem with being in a situation like a fairway bunker like this is you're just a little bit unstable with your feet. Now, I gotta admit, this isn't too bad. The ground's pretty hard, and I can make pretty clean contact with the ball here. So I'm just gonna go hit this one pretty normally. I'm gonna play the ball. I'm gonna move my stance a little more narrow on these, and then I'm gonna basically just keep my feet very still. The thing about sand and when your feet are loose is not to get too in front of it, or not to let your feet slip around. We want to be, it's almost, for lack of a better way of saying it, very arm motion swing versus trying to get too much body into it, because we don't want to hit the sand first. So I'll go ahead and hit this one. My goal is just to make really nice clean contact with the golf ball. Here we go. That's not bad. Like that's right on the left side of the green. If I hit the green with these shots, you're pretty happy, because, being in a tough situation and being in the sand can leave you in some really bad spots. Let's go hit one from this bunker up here. I'm going to change clubs real fast. Okay, so now you have this is a fairway bunker. It's better conditioned, it's been raked. It's one of the normal bunkers that you would have, unlike a waist bunker, which is kind of just, nobody rakes it, nobody maintains it. So this ball will go into the bunker here. And once again, the assessment is always, okay, can I get enough club on the golf ball? And here's where we got to start talking about, can I get the club on the ball, number one? Can I carry the lip of the bunker, number two? And watch this, if this ball was up in here, it starts getting challenging. I have a 7-iron here in my hand. I can get it easily over that, but now let's say it was up here. Now you can see that it's getting more difficult. Now, One of the things, this is not legal to do, but if you want to kind of see an estimation of how high the ball will fly off this face, check this out. So I'm going to put this club on the ground here. I'm going to step on the club face, flat with the sand, and you can see the angle of elevation of the 7-iron, and that barely gets over that lip, right? So that's kind of a little indication of will the ball get out. So if I was too close to the edge of the bunker and I did that, you can see it's getting closer and closer to the lip. If I was back here, it's obviously, look at that, it's very easy for that ball to get over that lip. So, you know, that kind of gives you an idea. I mean, you can't do that legally, but you know, if you're out practicing and you want to kind of figure out what's going on with how far the club will actually elevate itself over lips of the bunker. So let's talk about this shot. I'm going to give myself a semi-decent lie here. Now, not a bad lie. I can't hit the sand, so I got to make sure I miss that there. But the ball sitting up, again, you're trying to hit the ball very clean. You want to keep the lower body very still, and you want to make very much an arm motion and hit the ball as clean as you can. Because you're not getting quite as much speed in the club, you want to take out one extra club. So right now I got about 145 yards. That's normally an 8-iron or a 9-iron for me. Right now I have a 7-iron in my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit this shot. Once again, very stable lower body, very stable, and just trying to make a nice arm swing and make nice clean contact. Hurry up. Oh yeah, got on there. I didn't hit it real clean, but once again, I hit it clean enough to get it all the way to the green and the flag. Let's do one real quick from this bunker because we're here. Let's let the ball sit down a little bit. So you can see what'll happen. Sometimes it'll roll into, like, say, a rake mark. Let me find kind of a bad one here. Let's say it goes down. There's a pretty low rake mark right there. Now this is a little different because if you think about this for a second, I can probably hit the ball kind of clean, but I've got to hit a little more down on it, and I'm going to kind of catch ball and sand. So the assessment of the lie is pretty important. This one, fortunately, is down the rake mark, so it kind of lets me catch the ball. But look at this over here. If the ball had rolled into here, and see the rake marks are going a different direction, and now that's a bad one right there. See how the ball now, the ball is partially below the surface of the sand. Think about this. Now it's going to come out, it's going to be kind of heavy because I can't really cleanly hit that ball, compress it without hitting some sand between the ball and the face. So this one, this one's kind of one of those risk reward shots where you say, well, you know, I got the 7-iron, let's see if I can just hack it up there, and if I hit it in the bunker, I hit it in the bunker. Or you might want to be a little more strategic about it and maybe play a wedge out and see if you can't, you know, get it up and down. Either way, these are not great, they're not high percentage shots to get close to the flag, obviously. So I'm going to try my 7-iron again. You can see that I got a little more lip to deal with. So I'm going to aim a little to the left side. Once again, now this one, I'm going to narrow my feet a little bit because that places the ball slightly back in my stance. So I'm going to narrow up a little bit, and that's all because the ball is sitting down. I'm going to aim to the left side and see if I can't hit enough of this ball and chunk it down to that left side of the green here. And look, it came out pretty heavy. It's down the fairway, but those are very difficult because you can't hit the ball clean enough to hit it all the way to the flag. So those are more strategic than they are trying to fly it to the green. Let's go deal with that bunker up there, which is that pot bunker. This is more of a deep-lipped pot bunker, and obviously they can be worse than this. There's a bunch on this golf course that are much deeper than this. But once again, it's kind of a course management strategy thing where you're asking yourself, if the ball was sitting in the bunker here, look at the lie of it. Can I get it over the lip of the bunker, and can I get enough club face solid on the golf ball to carry it all the way to the flag? If the ball was up here, and you can see where that is, obviously that's buried, but let's say you had a decent lie. Now you see that I'm dealing with a very, very big lip, and it's a risk reward situation once again. Can you hit the club that you need to carry that and get it all the way in up to the flag or to the green. Now, I'm only about 125 yards here. I'm into the wind. The flag is tucked back. So I mean, this is a very challenging golf shot. Let me check the 9-iron like I did before. Once again, you can't do this legally, but you can check this out if you're just practicing, just to get an idea of what a 9-iron would do from this slope. Stepping it flat is pretty risky. See, I mean, it'll get over that, but it's pretty risky. So you really have to hit this one really, really clean and solid to get it over that slope. So I want to talk about what we do here, because a lot of times, let me ask you this question. I mean, if you had to get your scoring average and say, what is your scoring average from this situation? For example, how many birdies are you going to make from here? Well, probably not a lot. How many pars are you going to make from here? Well, the pars that you make from here are based on how good this shot is as far as getting it up and down, right? So strategy-wise, you might want to say to yourself, okay, what is my best chance of making a par from here as opposed to trying to make birdie? And my suggestion is that you get hit into a nice wedge shot. If this is a really risky situation, grab a wedge. And we're just going to wedge this out. So I'm going to go grab a different club real fast. So I'm just going to grab my gap wedge, and I'm going to hit it down there to about 50 yards, or maybe about 40, 50 yards, strategizing maybe my 50-yard shot, and just hit a little wedge shot out of here over this lip, and just get it down the fairway, and hit a shot where, well, now you can hit your wedge in there and get it up and down. So this is one of those things where you just got to play a little smarter and not worry so much about trying to make a birdie from here and just trying to get your par and play conservative, safe golf. So I wanted to show you this shot just because so often when you get into bunkers and situations like that, you want to have a great wedge game. And I don't know if I can express this enough, but this is really the part of the game that can turn bogeys into pars, and even pars into birdies, because you have a great wedge game. So when you hit a bunker shot and you just can't quite get it to the green, you leave yourself, this is 60 yards from the flag. This is where I have some strength in a 60-yard shot. What I do on the 60-yard shots is, obviously I'm choking down on the club, because this is, when I hit this club full, this is my 58-degree wedge. When I hit this club full speed, I hit it about 80 yards. If I put my hands down on the club and I take my arm back halfway, I hit the club 60 yards. So this is a 60-yard shot. And that's kind of what you strategize. You hit it out of the bunker into your 60-yard shot, and now you just walk in here and take it back to 9 o'clock, and you hit your little 60-yard wedge shot. And this is where these kind of shots you have to practice a lot, because it can really save your game when you get so good at your wedges that it becomes hit a wedge, get it up and down. Then, anybody good from a wedge here should knock it inside 10 feet and have a bunch of inside 10-foot putts. You can save a lot of scores just right here with your wedge. So now we're in a greenside bunker situation. Here's what's interesting about greenside bunkers. These scare a lot of people, right? Because sometimes you can spend a lot of shots, a lot of strokes trying to get out of the bunker. Obviously, this bunker has a large lip in front of me here, and I got plenty of room to the flag. But let's just talk about this shot in general. One time I was in a car with Sandy Lyle, and we were driving over to meet Mo Norman to hit golf balls on the range. And as Sandy was talking to me about the game of golf, he was like, Todd, you know what? He goes, if you want to be a good bunker player, he goes, Seve Ballesteros said, hey, if you can hit a 6-iron out of a bunker, you can hit anything out of a bunker. But it's kind of interesting, because I want to show you this. I'm going to throw a ball in here. This is a 6-iron, and here's the dynamics that you have to create. Obviously, a 6-iron does not have enough loft to get it out of this bunker. So how would you take this club and produce loft on it? Well, you can open the face, which is definitely a good way to put loft on a 6-iron. The problem with that is it simply opens the face. It doesn't really add enough loft. So now I got an open face 6-iron with a little more loft, but still not enough loft to get it over the edge of the bunker. So the next thing you can do with the 6-iron is to lower the shaft. So look, if I lower the shaft, see how the club gets a ton of loft on it? So if you think about what Seve and Sandy Lyle were talking about, is I got to take a golf club and I got to keep it on this plane and basically do this to it to give it enough loft to get under that ball. So watch, when I do that, when I lower the shaft and I have to keep my body lower, I got to make sure that the shaft stays on that plane, and the ball, well, barely got out, but it got out. So I can take a 6-iron and produce a wedge-like situation. Now, why am I telling you this? Because if you can understand the dynamics of open face, shaft position, we do this again, see if I can get a little better one for you. So the hands are low, the face is open, and I have to keep the shaft on this plane, a low plane. And that one was gorgeous right there. That's like a normal bunker shot. But I'm keeping this club on this plane, like this. Okay, let me grab my sand wedge and show you what I'm talking about. So now, this club obviously has a lot of loft on it. You don't have to drop the shaft as much. Now, you have to understand that it's still an open face, it's still a shaft position, and the higher that I want the ball to go, the more I can lower the shaft or raise the shaft. That's kind of what I wanted to get to the point here, was that if I have a huge lip in front of me like this, and I want to hit a bunker shot that pops out very high and goes soft, I can take my 58-degree wedge, I can lower the shaft, open the face, just like that 6-iron, keep the shaft low, and then, look at that, pops it out really soft. So it's not just open the face, it's also positioning the shaft. Let me do one where I hit it even higher than that. I'm not going to give myself that good a lie. I want to kind of show you. I'll give myself kind of an average lie here. Okay. And I'm basically going to get under this ball and so this is taking a 58-degree wedge. I'm turning it into probably over 70 degrees of loft by dropping the shaft. I got to make sure you can't let the shaft come up. You got to keep the shaft on this low plane, and watch how high this ball will go. So you can pop these things out of there really easily if you're willing to play around with shaft position, hand position, and you can look at that, how the shaft has to stay low. And the mistake people make so much in bunkers is they come in here and they just open the face. And now they got a problem because the shaft is too upright and the face is open. You see a lot of guys that are good bunker players, they kind of dig themselves down, they get their hands low, and they keep the shaft on a lower plane that helps the ball get up. You see, this is important for hitting these little soft shots, because how many times, when you short side yourself in a bunker, the ball flies in here, and you're like, oh boy, I got no room to work with, and now I got to have a really soft shot. Go down here, open the face, lower the shaft plane, and then watch. It's a little shot like this where you're keeping the shaft right on this plane, lots of loft on that face because the shaft is low, and it pops out nice and soft. That's the best way to hit these little shots. Learn to lower that shaft just a little bit. So let me just kind of wrap this up by showing you just the basic principles of hitting a greenside bunker shot, a pretty typical shot, not a huge lip in front of me, but something that just comes out of the bunker and stops nicely, what I call like an average bunker shot. So the way I hit this shot is obviously my feet are slightly open. So if this is the target line right here to the hole, my feet are slightly open to the target line. Now how much they're open depends on how much open the face. We kind of talked about that on the course. So I'm going to draw a few lines in the sand so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this would be my feet line right there. Now I'm going to do a face angle line. So here's my face angle line. It goes about to my lead toe. So that's how my face angle is sitting. So take a look at those two lines there. I got where my toe line is, and then the face angle line right there. Now what I'm going to do is basically swing down my toe line. In essence, this kind of, I don't want to say it like I'm cutting across the ball, but it makes the path of the club different than the face angle. So what's happening now is when I go ahead and swing down my line of my feet, the ball pops straight up and out because there's loft on the face and the club is going, the face is open relative to the path. So that's basically how I accommodate for an open face, because I'm lined up left, and enough loft to get it to land high and soft. So watch this. So sometimes you know, you don't always get a perfect line in the bunker, and the ball will fly in here and it'll bury. So you can see that most of that ball is below the surface of the sand. So these are completely different than a normal bunker shot. This is really what I call, basically you're gonna create some angle in the club and hit down enough with the loft to pop the ball out. Couple strategy things here is that the ball is not going to stop. Obviously, you're not going to be able to spin it. You're not going to have much loft in the face, and it's not going to spin very easily. So you got to give the ball a chance to run. So these are tough shots when you short side yourself near the green. But here's how I hit this shot. So I want to create plenty of shaft angle. So you got to put the ball back in your stance, and then because of the ball is back in your stance, see how much the shaft is leaning forward, and I'm going to go up and down, and I'm just going to drive the club in, you know, maybe an inch or so behind the golf ball, maybe a little further, right there. So drive the club right into the sand behind the ball, and it'll pop the ball straight out of the sand. That one wasn't too bad. It popped out pretty high and stopped. If you want to try to hit it a little softer, so let's say it's sitting down in the sand pretty good. Look how much sand I took out on that last one. These things, you're just digging the club into the sand. So if you got one that's pretty bad like this, sitting way down in there, you can try to hit a little softer shot. Don't play it quite as far back. Play it just a little more forward. Drive the club into the sand again. You got plenty of lean. And then it'll come out maybe a tiny bit softer. One of the things that I recommend though is always take a bunch of balls, go in the sand, grab your sand wedge, run around, and give yourself a lot of different shots like this, because the more experience you have, the better you get around the greens in the bunkers. One of my favorite shots I ever watched a player hit in a tournament was when Fred Couples on 16 at Augusta hit it in the bunker on the right side of the green. It's a very difficult shot because it's straight down the hill, and you have to do a very soft shot coming out of the bunker. And if you watch what he did in that shot, he takes the club back, but he lets go of his right hand. And one thing I learned about watching him do that was that he was, the goal for there, in obviously Fred Couples is an incredible player, and what he understood was that he had to basically get this club to softly hit the golf ball, not accelerate it out. He wasn't trying to blast the ball out of the sand. He was trying to just have enough weight, use the weight of the club, and hit enough weight on the club head to just barely get the thing out, hit a soft shot. And you watch, if you can see that footage ever, it's an amazing shot that he hit. I'm gonna give you a little view of it here. By the way, I practice this because it really teaches you how to use the club and not use the force, trying to force it out of the sand. So watch what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna, normal bunker shot, feet are open, face is open, and just as I swing through, I'm gonna let go of my right hand, and the ball will pop itself out. And it's really fun to practice this because you learn how soft, you learn how much the face really affects, and you can play around with just using the weight of the club. Look at that, look how soft that is. That's kind of pretty close to what he did. So I like to play around with stuff like this. I like to practice certain things, and that's a really good way to hit soft, really high bunker shots, thanks to Fred Couples showing us in the Masters. So basically, this is bunker shots, and I hope you enjoy the stuff we did in the course. We covered a lot of different bunker shots, and I kind of showed you some basic principles of the different types of bunkers on the course. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe, hit that bell icon, and don't forget, give me a thumbs up if you want to see more content just like this.